Welcome back to my channel, Selena's Table and our little Aussie homestead. I'm Selena if you're new, and today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I usually put out. A bit more of a let's just hang out, see what we get done today. I'm not going to spend a ton of time in the kitchen. I do want to show you around the garden and see how things are going out there. Not that we're growing a ton right now. What I want to start this video off with though is see the little coffee table behind me. So I bought that from an op shop and it had the most disgusting lacquer on it. So what I did was over the weekend, I actually sanded it back. And if you have a look, it's a beautiful light cedar color now, but it's not what I want it to look like. So yesterday I went to Bunnings, which is our hardware store, and I got some of this hard wax because I'm wanting a wax finish in black. Okay, I've never used this product before, but I want it to look like my dining table. So have a look at my table. Now, like I said, different video, nothing like normal. I'm going to rough it up with some of these, and all I need to do is put these on my drill and give it a good scratching. We've got deep crevices. So as you can see, we've already got deep crevices and things like that. That's the look I want. I want it to look old. I want it to look pirate shippy, okay, if that's a word. All right, so you can see it's quite light in color and it's now really smooth, so because I sanded it. So stay with me through the video because eventually we're going to get to this and we're going to have an attempt. Fingers crossed it's going to turn out the way I want. I will show you my dining table up close so you can see the look I'm going for. But yeah, I found this at the op shop, $28, absolute bargain, but it had this disgusting lacquer on it. So I sanded that all off. I lost the character that it already had when I did that, but it never had that aged like look about it. So yeah, that's something I want to get done today. Here's my dining table. This is the look I'm going for. You can see like that is not an illusion. There are divots in this table. It's got a really old, I call it a pirate ship look about it. So that's the look I'm going for on my coffee table. Come with me later in the video. Let's see if we can make these two pieces of furniture match, because side by side, one is really dark and quite old looking and the other is just really light. And it's quite beachy looking, but I'm not sort of going for beachy furniture in this house at this point in time. I do change my mind about these things pretty often, but yeah, right now I'm wanting to sort of replicate that. So let's see if we can do that later on. Eventually I'm going to paint those chairs to another color. I'm thinking dark green, but we'll get to that another day. So that's one of the projects I need to get done today, or I want to get done today. Another one is I need to get some food prepped. I've got heaps of Christmas cooking about to start, a lot of filming about to begin. So I need to get some bits and pieces made for that. And one of the things I need to get done today is some yogurt. So we make our own yogurt here, and we have made our own yogurt for quite a few years now. And normally when I make yogurt, I make it in my Instant Pot on the yogurt setting, and then I just strain it sort of overnight before I then put it into a jar. So this is the jar it lives in. The kids hit the last of that this morning. So we are empty, and normally you'd need some of this to go into the next batch. What I've started doing, which I've taken out of the freezer this morning, is when I make a new batch, I immediately take some of that yogurt, I put it into this little, it's an old yogurt container, so recycling, right? And then I wrap it in Glad Wrap and I pop it in the freezer so that if we ever have yogurt go off, because it does sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't last as long as you'd hoped. Or if the family eat it all before I've had a chance to make more, I don't have to go and buy myself another little pot of yogurt in order to make more. So what I've started doing, freezing off a little tiny tub, that's 170 grams, will hold in there. So I took that out of the freezer this morning and it's separated because it was frozen. It's actually still partly frozen. Today I need to use my Instant Pot for something else, but I also need yogurt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my dehydrator, a chance to make me some yogurt in the jar already. So I'm going to do 2 jars this size, and I'm hoping I'm not going to have to strain it by doing it this way. So this is the pot set sort of yogurt. I'm not putting any flavoring or anything like that in it, although you can, and I have in the past. This is just 2 jars. I'm thinking 1.5 liters of milk maybe, and split this half each. So whenever I make yogurt, I always use a UHT shelf-stable yogurt. It means I don't have to boil my yogurt in case there's any bad bacteria or anything like that in it, and I can just go straight ahead and use it. Another thing I have started doing, and I highly recommend if you are making your own yogurt, is to use some UHT, again, cream. So I add the cream and the milk together. I mix it all together with the yogurt starter. So this is essentially all my yogurt is. And that cream then makes my yogurt much thicker than when I don't use it. So it's more like sour cream or those little petit miams. So what made me decide to start adding cream to my yogurt was we went camping and I bought some of those little petit miams. Now they were always advertised as like a really creamy French style yogurt when I was a kid, and I remembered them just being the most delicious, incredible tasting, creamy yogurt. So I bought some of those for our trip and I was highly disappointed, okay? They were watery. They were more watery than the yogurt that I make at home if I don't strain it. So as you can see, I'm just putting some milk in these 2 jars. So then I thought, what can I do to make my yogurt creamier like the way I used to remember it? And I thought, let's add some cream. I already have these in my pantry. I keep them as my cream sort of backup. I like to have them available, and I'm just eyeballing this half and half, okay? And I have found that by adding the cream to the milk when making yogurt, it does give me a really creamy, beautiful yogurt, so much more similar to what I remember the petit miam being. So if you want to make your own yogurt and you want it super creamy, I highly recommend adding a little bit of cream. So normally when I do this in my Instant Pot, I will add 2 or 3 whole liters of milk plus 1 of these and then the whole 1 of these, all right? Because today these jars are only going to hold whatever they're going to hold. And that one's got a big frozen piece in it, so I'm just going to break that up a bit. So I'm not getting as much, but when I've strained out my yogurt, I do usually only end up with this jar full per 3 liters of milk, okay? So I figured I'm not actually using as much ingredients either by doing it this way, and hopefully we're going to end up with a creamy set yogurt. Give it a good stir. So I've popped my little yogurt container in the sink, ready to be washed. I'm just cleaning the outside of this jar. I'm going to put a lid on. And into the dehydrator. So I've taken the racks out of my dehydrator, and I might just pop one in the bottom. Now this probably wouldn't work for one of your smaller dehydrators, although I mean, I guess you could try it, but I'm just gonna put that down low, put my yogurt in. Hopefully they're not too heavy. Okay, I've doubled up the rack. So I've got 2 racks on top of each other. That's a lot more stable. I've just put them in there. They're not touching, and I'm going to set my temperature for 40 and my time for 10 hours. And then this will just go about its day. It's just going to set there. So 10 hours, 40 degrees Celsius. And I feel like there we go, we've got our yogurt started. If you were with me when we made soap, I want to give you an update on how our soap has turned out. So we made this one together, and it was a base of olive oil and coconut oil. This one, which I've put just a little bit of pretty tissue paper on, this one was honey, oat, and lard. So I had lard and olive oil in this one. And then since then, and not on video, I actually made a 3rd batch using the exact same recipe. All I'm doing is sort of tweaking the odd thing here and there. So this one was tallow, and this was made of the tallow that we made together. I will link the video for my soap and also for how to make your own tallow from raw beef fat. I will link that into this video so that if you're looking for a way to do that yourself, you can follow along there. And this one, all I did was added some coffee grinds to it, some spent coffee grinds. We make our own coffee here with like espresso coffee. We grind our own beans, so we have all these coffee grinds, and I quite often will just throw them into the garden, and I find the blueberries seem to really love them. But yeah, I decided to use some of those as well. And this one is now ready also. So these are all ready for me to test out, have a look, see how they're going. I have actually been using them already, and I can tell you this is the nicest soap we've ever used as a family. I've used all 3. We definitely have a favorite, but yeah, they're really, really nice soaps. They leave your skin really moisturized and beautiful, but I'll show you what they lather up like and how they're performing. Now you can see here, we've actually been using that coffee one already in our kitchen. And I want to say, I have always loved homemade soaps. I've bought them for years and years and years, but I do find that they seem to wear down pretty quickly, like you go through it rather quickly. I haven't found that to be the case with this recipe that we made together. So they feel lovely and firm. These are they're more than 6 weeks now. This one is 6 weeks, so these are longer than that. They've been curing. But yeah, I find they're lasting a lot better than some of the purchased ones I've had in the past. So I'll show you the honey oat calendula. It's a very mild smelling. The color is lighter on the outside, darker in the middle. And this one is a base of lard and olive oil. And these ones that I'm showing you today, they haven't been used before. And there's our lather situation. Whoops, slippery. Okay, not loads and loads of lather on that one, but it still feels lovely. And I feel like I'm getting nice clean hands using it. Okay, the exfoliating factor in that one was oat. Okay, so we just put a couple of tablespoons, I think, from memory, of oatmeal in that. And I find that it is a really gentle exfoliator. So I'm happy for, like, young kids can use that one without sort of any problem. Good for eczema. I've found that one there. I don't have eczema, but my husband has eczema and he's found that to be quite helpful. Yeah, my hands feel soft. They definitely feel clean. So this is the coconut oil olive base, and we ended up putting there was lemon myrtle in it, lemon balm, and maybe sweet orange oil. I can't actually remember if we added the orange oil or not. It doesn't have a strong smell. And lather this one up. The only annoying thing about this one is that little orange slice when you're in the shower and it wants to come out, and it just kind of is pointless but pretty. So a lot more lather in this one than the honey oat. Okay, this one is really, really, really nice. So if you're not wanting to make, like, look at that lather there, like I'm getting so much lather, right? If you're not wanting to make one with animal fat in it, I can highly recommend you do the combination of coconut oil and olive oil, especially if you like a good lather. Okay, that one's leaving me feeling very soft, very smooth. I really love that one. That one is actually our family's favorite so far. This is the coffee one, based on an olive oil and tallow. And there is our lather. Now the exfoliation on the one with the coffee grinds is significantly coarser. So if you've got stubborn skin, or you need to get your garden hands nice and clean, or maybe workshop hands, I would definitely have a batch of this for anyone who likes to work outside or get their hands greasy, in cars and things like that. That one I feel like would be really good. Lovely lather still again. Probably not as lathery as the coconut, but it's not far off, okay? So the tallow and the coconut oil had a lot more lather than the lard. All three leave your skin feeling just delicious. So soft, so supple. I haven't had to use moisturizer on my hands either since using these soaps, because I do wash my hands a lot because I work in the kitchen all the time, and I'm out in the garden a lot, and I don't like wearing gardening gloves. I prefer to have my hands in the dirt. So I find these are leaving my hands really smooth, really soft, very youthful looking, if I can say that. Yeah, highly recommend make your own soap. If you haven't yet, give it a try, and I would definitely use that recipe from the Nerdy Farm Wife that I have linked in the video where I made it with you, and yeah, have a go of making your own soap. Highly recommend. I'm actually going to make another batch this weekend, and I'm thinking I might use, instead of using water, I'm going to use some cucumbers. So yeah, the other day I was out in the garden and I was collecting all these carrots, and there's cucumbers underneath them. That's what I'm digging for. I'm digging to show you. Hello, pride and joy, teeny tiny cabbage. I found a rogue onion. I'd already harvested my onions. We'll go out there in a minute and I'll show you. We'll talk about that. But if I can dig down deep enough, here we go. Cucumbers. We are getting cucumbers. Okay, so I'm thinking what I might do is puree up some cucumber in the blender, pop it in ice cubes trays, and put that in the freezer. And then on the weekend, I'm thinking I might make cucumber mint soap. I think it would just be really nice. It's hot here, it's summer. We want to have full days at the beach, and then we go and get burnt, and I just feel like the nicest way to shower after a beach day might be with some cucumber mint soap. So if I get that done this weekend, we should have some soap not too far after Christmas. It will remain summer here well into February. Even March is still hot, so we're going to get plenty of time to use this soap. So I'm going to do that now. Just give some cucumbers, a process in the blender, pop them in ice cube trays and pop them in the freezer. I have no idea how many cucumbers I'm going to need for my little water replacement in my soap, and I don't have a recipe that I'm following for this. I am just winging it. That's what I did with my coffee soap. That's what I did with my coffee soap, so that's what I'm going to do. I will be following the Nerdy Farm Wife's recipe though. So I'm thinking seeds and all. Here's a cucumber that we've grown, and I've got the bug damage, so I'm going to cut that out. And otherwise, I'm just going to puree. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3. This one is a little old, this cucumber. This was picked a few days before I picked these ones. And these ones look bug damaged as well. Yeah, the bugs are getting out there. They're hitting my garden hard at the moment. I have been making a lot of fridge pickles with my cucumbers, and they have been thoroughly enjoyed. Then fridge pickles are not shelf stable, so they're fine to sit in the fridge for a couple of months in their solution, but they're not something I can't really make up like 20 or 30 jars of pickles, which we would go through in a year and just store them in the pantry because they haven't been processed in any way. So the fridge pickles are more for the next sort of month or two, and then, I mean, the cucumbers will stop being available for us, no doubt, and we will probably go back to buying pickles if that's what we need to do. I haven't been able to get my hands on any calcium carbonate, although one of you lovely people did tell me to try the brew shop, like the home brew supplies, and they sell it, and I just haven't been able to do that yet. So maybe if I can get my hands on some of that before my cucumbers finish doing their thing, I will be able to do some pickled cucumbers for the pantry. But in the meantime, I've got all these cucumbers. We're kind of just eating them, and some of them are going to the chickens, and then the others we are turning into the fridge pickles. So I've got my 3 cucumbers in there. That one's got bug damage, so I'll clean that one up because I don't actually want bugs in my soap. There we go. Just going to give that a quick puree. All right, basically cucumber juice, right? And maybe that's another thing I could do. I don't have a juicer, but I could probably puree some cucumber and maybe freeze it to add to drinks and things like that. I'm not sure. Okay. So I've got an ice cube tray here. Just going to get the flesh down into the watery component of the cucumber, sort of well mixed. It's separated a little there. And we'll see how many of these we can fill. Alright, I'm going to pop that in the freezer, and then on the weekend I can make some of my cucumber soap and see how that goes. So I want to make one more thing before I head outside and attempt to stain or wax that table. and I want to show you around my garden as well. And that is, I'm going to need some Dolce Delice. I'm saying it wrong, I know I am. It's basically the caramel top and fill, okay? It's the caramel, milk-based caramel that you buy in a can with condensed milk, and it is astronomical in price for what it is. So a tin of this just home brand condensed milk will set you back somewhere between like $1.60, $1.80, something like that, right? A can of the caramel is like $5, okay? That's ridiculous. You can make this at home, and the easiest way I find to make it and the safest way is with my Instant Pot pressure cooker. So one way to do it is straight in the can. You can also boil this, you can also do this in a slow cooker, okay? If you want to do this in a slow cooker, it's basically the same principle as the pressure cooker. However, you're going to have this going for hours and hours and hours and hours, okay? This isn't going to take that long because I'm using a pressure cooker. I'm going to empty the contents of my can of condensed milk into a pressure safe canning jar. And the reason I'm doing it that way is because I then will pop these in the fridge. I'm about to bake with these in the next couple of days anyway. I don't want to put the can in the fridge, so I will, either way, I'll be messing up a jar. This is just the way I like to do it. Then it's in a canning jar. By all means, you can do it in the can. So the first thing you want to do is you do need to crack your can open. And I have seen videos and things where people haven't done that and they just use the whole thing straight in like this. I don't want my can to explode under pressure. And the whole point of cracking the can is that you're going to let the contents bubble out if it needs to. If you're wanting to do this in the slow cooker or in the can, that's all you need to do, and then wrap it really tightly in alfoil a couple of times over, just to keep the mess contained. Because I'm going to use a canning jar, I am going to empty the contents of my can of condensed milk straight into my jar. And if you've seen the chocolate variety, it is exactly the same process, just add a tablespoon of cocoa powder at this step here. Just like that. I'm going to clean the rim as though I would if I was canning. So in just the same way, if I was canning, I'm going to use vinegar, paper towel, and clean the edge of my jar. Because essentially it is canning, it's just not going to be recommended or safe to sit on the shelf, but it's perfectly fine to sit in your fridge for a couple of weeks if you do it this way. Okay, so my jar is clean. Pop a canning lid on and a ring. Ready to go. I'm going to do this one as well because I always do 2 at a time. Because if you're going to go through the process of doing 1, you might as well do 2. And through Christmas, we use this caramel for quite a few things, so it's handy to have. Now that our jars of condensed milk are ready to go into our pressure cooker, I've got the pressure cooker here. You're going to need the rack. Pop your jars in there, and you want to fill up to about here, so you know 2/3 to 2/3 roughly of your jar. If you're using a can, you want to fill it up again 2/3 of the way up the can, okay, with water. So I'm going to get some water in here. There we go. We've got water in there up to about here, about 2/3 of the way up. You want your jars to be sitting upright. There we go. Okay, straight in your pressure cooker. Okay, lid on, power on. Mine does this automatically. It does the whole sealing and venting thing. You want it set to sealing, okay? And we are just going to hit pressure cook. And we want 45 minutes. And that is it. Now that that's beeping. So that's on. That's going to take 45 minutes in the pressure cooker. Then we want it to naturally release all the pressure. We're not going to hit the quick release button at all. Okay, so this is going to be completely contained in here until it is done. So it's 45 minutes of cooking, and then, you know, it will take probably an hour or two of natural pressure release, but that's okay. I don't need this until later this afternoon at the earliest, probably tomorrow, and it will be ready to go. So there's another job done. So we're done in the kitchen for now. I'm going to head out and give the chickens some leftover bits and pieces that we've had from the last couple of days. Let them out. We might go for a wander through the garden and let's see how things are going out there. We've got some scraps here for the chickens. Let's see how they're going. I hope they don't need water. I didn't bring the watering can with me. And the ladies need to be let out. Hello, chickens. And we need water, so I'll be back to get you some water. So I need to come back up here with some water. They have run out, so I'll do that now, and then let's go for a wander through the garden. The chickens have been watered. Let's go have a look. We are overrun with grass. As you can see, so much grass. Got some capsicums though. Bit little. But they are a yellow capsicum, so I'm thinking I'm just going to have to pick them, even though they're small. I need to pull all these tomatoes out. More grass. I did pick the onions in the rain the other day, but I need to get in here and sort this out. So if you're wondering what happened here, the other day I was out here and I was picking those carrots and I picked a snake. And I am terrified of snakes, and I live in a very snaky place, and I questioned whether I should ever garden again. I haven't quit. I just don't like being out here if there's going to be snakes. And summer is fast, more likely to have them. Anyway, because I picked the snake, I ran straight through the beans. They all ended up all over the ground, and if you're following along on Instagram, you will have seen a little story I put up showing my beans on the ground. When my husband came home, we fixed the situation. We sorted out the beans, got them replanted, although I don't know if they're going to survive. So that's why I'm watering them. Now, the snake is long gone. It's not here. You can see the ground now. You can also see the mess I left in my wake yesterday. Not yesterday, the other day. It wasn't yesterday, it was the other day. About 2 days ago. You can see the mess left in my wake. So I'm going to water my beans in the hope that even though they were torn out from the root and they were doing so well and we were getting such a beautiful crop, I'm hoping that some water will bring them back to life. I don't know. I probably just shouldn't garden through summer at all if I'm going to be so scared of snakes. Yeah, so there we go. Beans that we were getting a beautiful harvest from, not so much anymore. And I was actually out here cleaning up, getting rid of as many of the grassy beds as I could, trying to top them up with some like blood and bone, some things like that, and get them re-alive, you know, like rejuvenated, get some more hay on top. And the plan was, and then, you know, I didn't get to these 2 beds because I was just harvesting the carrots when that happened, and that was it. I was all over for me. I did get most of these beds tidied up for the majority, and I mean, you can see I've pulled things out. I just throw them on the ground, then they get mowed. You can see grass over there, not grass, lettuce. Hello, raspberry. Homegrown raspberries. That one's slightly sour. Are the best. I just love them. It's a little bit windy. Hopefully the microphone is not playing up. These beautiful, I think they're poppies. Someone seemed to think they were poppies. One of my friends. They are doing beautifully. Some zinnias popping up. More cosmos. This is my cane chili. And look at that. Look at how long that is. That's awesome. So good. The carrot seed is happening. So that carrot seed there means we shouldn't have to buy carrot seed again, and we haven't had to buy carrots for this whole year so far. So if we can keep the carrots that we harvested the other day and that I still have in the bed going, keeping us going until, you know, it cools down a bit when we do better with our carrots, yeah, we won't have bought carrots for a whole year, and that is a promising sign we won't be buying carrot seeds again. Our beetroot seed isn't doing as well. The plant is doing great. The beetroot's doing great. The beetroots are really big, but the beetroot seed itself hasn't happened. So I don't know, maybe that takes a lot longer. The peas are not loving life. I did plant some more beans in here. Beans that we have grown here on the property to the seed stage. So they are our beans. That one there's looking good. That's a decent sized capsicum right there. We grew these ones from seed and planted them together. The chilies, so many chilies. They are an orange chili and they need to be picked. Here is the cucumbers. Still producing, although the plant has seen better days. Look at the twizzling. Isn't that beautiful? This one, I love it. This little patch of zinnias right here, they are all zinnias that we grew from seed last year. So we had zinnia, that I bought the seed for, we grew them, and then those flowers died and I collected the seed, and that is the result of those seeds. So that's why we've got a bunch of mixed colours. I've never bought a yellow zinnia, but I've certainly got yellow coming through. I've also got orange. But yes, I absolutely love this little patch just here. These would be my pride and joy right now. That is the last of my lettuce. I have got more seeds planted, but they haven't come up yet. And this is the beans that I collected seed from. So I'm letting all of that just go to seed, and I can keep them for future harvesting and future sowing. This one, this is stunning. Look at how big these are. These are really big zinnias. Sometimes things aren't going as we'd hoped in the garden, especially in this heat, in the hot summer months of Queensland. But I mean, I think zinnias just make it all worthwhile. I don't mind that I'm not getting as much food out of here if I'm getting all this beauty. I'm still getting mountains of sweet potato, but after the latest snake incident with the carrots and the down there and the beans, I am hesitant now to even dig sweet potatoes, and I will need some for like Christmas. We're going to do some baked sweet potato salads and things like that. I'm going to need to get someone to help me because I don't want to do that by myself. Here's some more beautiful zinnias. And I'm loving letting them get a bit bigger, and you get so many more layers of the petals. Does that make sense? Like, I used to pick them when they were like this, but if you leave them, you get all these extra layers. Look at that one with the green in it. These are a smaller one, but they're so pretty. And then we have, this was the lemon peach, and there's bits and pieces of tomato branches and things like that on them because I just pulled all of the tomatoes out. They were riddled with the bugs, so they're gone. I'm just working on feeding the flowers right now, keeping the flowers, keeping the herbs. That's some blood and bone in there. Letting things go to seed. Once they die completely, I just scatter the seed. And I find by scattering the seed, it's enough to just keep sort of the flower situation going. There's the blueberries. They're delicious. That's so good. This is the dahlia bed. And we have growth. I cannot wait to see the colours coming out of here. Dahlias and zinnias are my favourite. And then we have some herbs going well. And in that bed there, I did plant more lettuce. So I'm going to gather up my couple of capsicum, put my hose away, and then we might go see if we can make this little coffee table look old. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I've changed my shirt because I know I'm going to end up with black stuff on me. I've put a drop sheet down on the deck. We're outside, so if it's gusty, I'll just voice over this. Alright, I've got the wax, I've got a rag, I've got my drill, okay. I've never done this before, so this is definitely, you know, a come and let's see if I can destroy something, maybe. Hopefully I make it look better. Hopefully it turns out the way I want it to. Wouldn't be the first time I've ruined a piece of furniture though. But I did pick it up from the op shop, so. I'm thinking this wheel. Okay, I'm thinking if we use this, that's sharp. Okay, that's working. Look at this. Let's have a look. So it's bringing up the grain, which is what I wanted. I never wanted this to look new. So there you can see it's roughed it up, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to be smooth like it is there. I wanted it to be rough. That's turned out perfect. That's exactly how rough I wanted it to be. I've just given it a quick vacuum to get off any extra sawdust before we have a go with using this wax that we've got. So showing you up close, you can see we've got lovely texture going on. Scratches. That's what I was going for. So the underside of this table is actually closer to what I want it to look like than what the raw finished product is, but I don't know what that is. That's not the same finish. That's not the same finish that was on the top that I had to sand off. That's something different. But I'm going to test this out on a leg because I don't want to go ahead and put this straight on the top and end up having it be like totally not what I'm going for. Here we go. Okay, that is a bit darker than I probably wanted. Let's see if I can rub it off. I don't know. What are we thinking? I don't know. Do I keep going? This was like before and after. I don't know if I'm happy with it. Oh no. I feel like I'm committed now, so we just are gonna go for it. It has not turned out like I hoped, but it's not entirely disappointing either. So I'm going to keep it, and I may need to touch this up at some point and put some kind of different wax situation on it. Anyway. So thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was something a bit different from me, and I will endeavour to keep you updated if I change something about that table, that little coffee table. My yogurt is still going. Everything looks fine there. The pressure cooking caramel, top and fill style, dolce de leche, however you say it, it is natural pressure releasing now. So it'll be ready for me to use this afternoon. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.